Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series PGS Pandemonium, where I take a look at 8 of my favorite IGS PGM games of all time, and today we're taking a look at Martial Master. This is basically Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter Alpha if it was made by a Taiwanese company and not Capcom. It's an absolutely spectacular and beautiful to look at fighting game that we'll be getting into right now. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel and what we do here, we have a Patreon link down below in the description as well. But you'll see that we have a really nice character roster, and the fun part of this game, depending on how familiar you are with Asian cinema, is a lot of the characters are based on different kung fu movie properties, and I'll kind of point them out as I come along. Tiger here is loosely based on one, but we have a character from the Drunken Master, the Jackie Chan movie. But this game is a sight to behold, because I will say, and you can debate me in the comments if you want, the visuals, the animations, the colors and the backgrounds of Martial Master are as good as anything Capcom ever did. Now, it might not hold up to the level of something like Geru Mark of the Wolves. In my opinion, that looks slightly better than what Capcom did, but these are fighting words, and I'm sure people are going to disagree with me. What I don't think anyone's going to disagree with is that this game is absolutely spectacular to look at. And I love Monkey Boy's stage here. All those monkeys in the background, one monkey wearing a fez and a coat dancing with a man. It is just so much fun. It's filled with personality, it's filled with character. All those monkeys look charming. That waterfall in the back with the faux transparencies, it's just amazing to look at. And we haven't even really touched on the gameplay elements, because of course if it's not competent as a fighting game, why would I really be putting it on this playlist? And I love Tiger's finishing animation here. He takes his Bible out and shines the sign of the cross on his shoulders. But moving on up against Rika, now we're in a park with a panda just rolling around. And I should probably stop talking about the visuals that much, because you want to hear more about the gameplay. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know visually that is what I'm mostly interested in talking about sometimes. But this game plays perfectly. It plays like Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter Alpha, and as far as the control set is concerned. But as far as if it's a competent fighter, 100% absolutely. This is top tier fighting game fun, except you've probably never heard of the game. This did apparently make it over to the United States, and I am playing the English version here, the English cartridge, but the English is really bad, there's not much story involved. But I guess it did come over to the US. I've never seen a single example of these games in arcades when they were out and popular. This was definitely something that was going to be a lot more in China and Japan and Asia. But of course now, these games have become relatively cheap. You can pick up a cartridge from Martial Masters for not a ton of money. Compared to the Neo Geo games that PGM is always compared to, you're getting a lot of content on the PGM for a lot less money than you would get on the Neo Geo. And that's always a great time. That's why I wanted to do a series on the PGM, because I already showed you the board and how the hardware works, but I really wanted to talk about the games because there's some real spectacular stuff here. Tiger versus Red Snake, I love this background. It kind of looks like somewhere in the Middle East Egyptian, but it is still China. And if you know more about Chinese lore, I don't, or if you are from China and you're watching this video, although YouTube's not available there, so I guess not, there are a lot of nods to Chinese mythology and other little visual flourishes. You'll see there's Tiger did that 21 hit combo. Combos in this game are great as well. Once you hit one and it just lands, everything feels great and spectacular. It's exactly the type of direct impact smack noises that you want to hear when you're playing a fighting game for orally to really feel like those strikes connect, because all the moves are really well balanced. And I would say that the game in general is well balanced. There is no one overpowered character. There are some characters that control quite differently than others, but it's not a situation where you pick one character and can absolutely destroy anybody else playing the game with that one character, in my experience at least. And of course I don't find a lot of people that have even played Martial Master, so sometimes I don't really know how well it is. But what I do know is the soundtrack is as good as it looks. So go ahead and listen for about 45 seconds and I'll come back and tell you more about why, if you've never played this game, you should be doing it right after the video ends. But enjoy.
Round one, fight!
The soundtrack is amazing, and it's exactly what you expect it to be because it is emulating Kung Fu cinema. It has all those Chinese string instruments and drums that you would expect from the genre, and it does it quite well. But if you take a look at Drunken Master here, the frames of animation in his character are amazing. He moves so fluidly, it almost looks like a polygonal render made to look like a sprite like the recent Guilty Gear games are doing. But that's just the fun of this game. Playing as Scorpion is a completely different experience than playing as the original character I showed you. And each character has their own individual moveset, but more importantly, they have their own individual movement, speed, and style. Because you'll see here, Scorpion just moves around the screen so fluidly. It takes a little bit longer to learn him as a character, as you really have to get used to the intricacies of how he moves and his fluidity. But once everything starts to click, it feels really well as you play. And I go up against Monk here, one of the heavy characters. If you play as him and you like the heavy character in fighting games, he may be more towards what you want to go to. But again, I just can't stress how good this game looks. Scorpion stage here, all the sepia colors in the background and all the little bits of animation in the background characters are spectacular. That's why I said earlier, I would put this up against any game that Capcom's made that's 2D as far as the art style is concerned. I would say this even animates more in the background than the original Street Fighter 3 or second generation. I'm sure that's going to upset some people in the comments, but I'm just giving you my opinion and you're 100% available to disagree with it. But what I hope you don't disagree with is how good Martial Masters is as a game and how obscure it actually is. I have never seen anyone else mention this game. Now I'm sure if I put a thread up saying who's played it on a forum, plenty of people would, but I never see this game on any list of best fighting games, never see this on any list of best obscure fighting games. It just seems to have gone completely missing, and that's really unfortunate. So hopefully if you've never heard of this game before, after you're done with the video, you're going to go seek it out and play it, because it's as good as I'm telling you it is. This is one of those games on the channel, and it is rare when I say it, that I tell you, you have to play this game. I don't care if you've watched 100 of my videos, this is one of those 3 that I almost insist you go and check out, because if you like fighting games, you're going to love Martial Masters, and it gets even better when you're playing with a second player, because I am playing this on normal, and it puts up a relatively decent amount of resistance, but of course the CPU is never going to be as satisfying as playing against another opponent. So if you have friends that are fighting game fans, invite them over one night. You can emulate this, it works perfectly fine in MAME or Final Burn Neo. Get 2 controllers together and tell them you're going to be playing something new. I bet they are going to love it. But if you do want to buy a cartridge for this game, they really aren't that expensive. Of course, they're going to be more expensive than emulation or buying a new fighting game at $60, but I really do think it is worth it, because let's tick all the boxes right now. This game is great to play. All of the inputs, all of the mechanics, all of the different characters, great fighting game. This game looks absolutely gorgeous. All the frames of animation for the sprites, all the backgrounds, all the colors, spectacular. Soundtrack, perfect amalgamation of Hong Kong strings and those taiko drum noises. It's just got everything I crave when I talk about a fighting game. But leave me a comment down below if you have played it and where you found it, because I would be curious how many people that are subscribers and recent viewers of this channel actually know about Martial Masters. I really do feel like this is 10 out of 10 hidden gem status. But short of that, like I mentioned earlier, do me a favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, that notification bell, definitely helps us out. I will be back next Tuesday with an episode on the PGM, and I'll have videos throughout the week as well. But I guarantee you 100%, if you've never heard of this game before, and you play it after the video, you have a money back guarantee that you will like it. And because I know you're emulating, that's $0. Bye-bye.